2016 meeting of the Rutherford County Regional Planning Commission. If y'all would stand with us, please. Commissioner Lee Bogle will lead us in our prayer and our pledge. Lee. Thank you. You may be seated. Call the roll, please, Gail.
Rhonda Allen. Here. Jim Averwater. Here. Lee Bogle. Here. Veronica Buchanan. Will Jordan. Here. Mike Cush. Craig Lynch. Here. Chip Pinion. Here. Charlotte P. Here. Mike Vaught. Jeff Phillips.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Gail. This time we need to approve our minutes from our last meeting. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Thank you, Craig. I have a motion to approve those minutes and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? The motion carries. Thank you. Item number 5 is on our deferred items, and we have one. Item 6A, the item number is 15-A016, has been withdrawn.
Just for the record, that's the one on Southridge Boulevard, in case somebody was in the audience for that.
Item 6, new business rezoning requests that are scheduled for public hearings. Item 6B, Aaron Duggan. The item number is 16-A001. The location is Miller Road. The county commissioner is Joe Frank Jernigan. Size of the site is approximately 29.4 acres, 10 acres requested for rezoning. Tax map 156, parcel is 46. Existing zoning is RM, residential medium density. Proposed zoning is EAC, Employment and Activity Center. Doug.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and Happy New Year to all the planning commissioners. This piece of property should look fairly familiar to you. We looked at a rezoning application a couple years back on this property here at the corner of Miller Road and Sledge. Miller kind of continues on around here. Sledge ends basically right here, even though the road kind of continues on. The applicant would like to rezone this portion of the property here, this affected area, for use as a mini warehouse facility. Now, at this point, since it's just a rezoning, they have not developed any concept plans. But the applicant is aware that these type of developments are only permitted by special exception in the EAC district. So if this application is approved, then eventually the development will have to go back to the Board of Zoning Appeals for their consideration as well. Access to the property, of course, would be from Miller Road. There's an existing driveway right about here that accesses this property. Well, it's not showing up here. Here we go. Accesses this property right here. The drive's right about in this area, and there's if people are familiar with the area, it's a pretty substantial curve right in this area. So what staff will be looking at, if this is approved and ultimately developed, we'll be looking at an entrance further away from as far away from that curve as possible. They'll also be required, depending on use, but if the mini warehouse facility does go forward, they would be required to do a type 2 buffer between other residentially zoned property and the proposed development. This property is located within the Epps Mill Road major employment center based on the comprehensive plan. It was actually designed, the EAC zone that we're considering tonight was actually developed with that in mind. I don't really believe that the property is ever going to develop with a single family subdivision. I would anticipate seeing some of these, if this does develop with the mini warehouses, probably a lot of this back in this area adjacent to the interstate. I just don't see this developing as a single family subdivision. So with that in mind, staff did recommend approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And just to show you, this is the aerial photo of the site. The site is currently vacant. We're really just treed and everything. This is looking down Miller, going toward Sledge Road in the curve, well, back up Miller, where it goes back up to Epps Mill Road. This is looking directly across the street. There's you can see in this next picture, this is the curve, and you can see that's where I parked my little, my Explorer right there in that little drive while I was putting the sign up. And this is looking on the property. We'll be happy to answer any questions at this point.
Any questions for staff?
Doug, you said that they'd have to have special permission. What is the usual zone for mini warehouses?
Most of the mini warehouse developments that we've seen have been placed in commercial services zones. Of the three commercial zones that we have, commercial neighborhood, commercial services, and commercial general, that's kind of the middle of the road designation. Allows for a variety of retail uses and other type uses as well. Now, the EAC is a little bit different because it will allow for multifamily development uses. It'll also allow for light industrial uses, and heavy industrial with special exception. The commercial services zone doesn't allow for some of those other uses. That's the big difference between the two. They're required in the commercial services zone as well to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. The only zones that they're allowed by right, I believe, are light industrial and heavy. That's the only two that we allow mini warehouses by right.
Questions for staff? Now we'll conduct our public hearing. Public hearing is open for item number 16-A001, Aaron Duggan. Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward. State your name and address, please.
Aaron Duggan. I live at 9668 Sims Court in Christiana. I'm a lifelong resident of Christiana. I have no desire to do anything that's detrimental to our community. I think this would be a good fit for this area, and it's much needed, and I ask the commissioners to approve this.
Questions for Mr. Duggan while he's up here? Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Commissioners?
Doug, you recommend approval. It backs up against the interstate there. Like there won't be any houses built there.
Correct. Now, I did put in the comments that we do have some concern about the availability of water down in this area. This would not have a fire hydrant that could serve for fire protection. Now, that wouldn't be the first time we run into that situation, even with many warehouse developments. But we've been in contact with our fire chief on that. And of course, if this is developed in that manner, really regardless of what's there, they'd have to abide by all, building and fire codes. So, fire rated walls, things like that, there are ways to help combat that.
We approve it here, and it does have to go back to the BZA.
If for mini warehouse development, it would. Yes, sir.
Make a motion to approve it.
Have a motion to approve. Need a second? And a second. Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye. Any opposition? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. This really conducts our business for tonight. Under old business, let me go ahead and tell you guys that our next regularly scheduled meeting is the 25th, 9 a.m. in the Planning Mez across the street. We also have a special called meeting next Thursday, January the 21st, and this will be our traffic sheds public input meeting. Doug, you have some details on that?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We'll be in this room. We're going to start at 5 o'clock. Really, it's going to be kind of an informal open house type meeting to begin for about an hour or so. And then after that, what we'll end up doing is having a more formal presentation. Steve Tocknell will be here to help lead that and facilitate the discussion. He'll do a presentation again. There'll probably be folks here that have not seen the presentations that have been done with the Planning Commission to this point. So he'll go through those presentations, ask any questions at that point if there are any. And then from that point, we'll just open the floor up for anyone who in the audience may want to come and speak on, either for or against the concept or their concerns. I've been telling people that I've talked to about this, and I mean, I'm not telling you anything new that you didn't already know, but we have not made a decision on that. We're still just gathering public input at this point. So we're really just deciding, is this something we want to do? And if so, what is it, how do we want to move forward with it? So that's really where we are with things. So, but yes, that'll be the 21st. I emailed everybody today, Planning Commission, County Commissioners, several of the other folks that we emailed for the other work sessions that we had as well, trying to get the word out. So if you guys can think of anybody else who might be interested in coming, please feel free to pass them the invitation or have them contact me. I'd be more than happy to talk with them, or Mike, either one of us can be happy to talk with them about that.
We won't make a decision that night. We're just getting
No, sir,
input.
this is just for, yes, sir, this is just for input. Yeah, we're not planning on making any decision that night either.
I think you have on front of your desk our Building Codes Department report for the year. Looks like 620 single-family dwelling permits, and that was a little bit down from the year prior to that, but pretty close. Doug, you have anything else?
Just a couple brief items, and kind of dovetailing along with that discussion that Jeff just had. We'll be doing our year-end report, so we'll be giving you some numbers here of, kind of our available lots and how that's changed over the year, what developments we've seen over the last year, looking at how we did on our work schedule and some of our priorities. We've got several things that we're kind of batting around right now that we'll present to you on that. So that'll be at our day meeting here in a couple weeks. That's really all I have for that. The only other item I will say is that, as you all probably know, the College Football National Championship game is today, and as a Clemson graduate, I'd like to say go Tigers. So with that, I'll probably get a lot of hate mail or voicemails angry, or I'll get a whole lot of people saying, "Ha, you lost" tomorrow, so that's fine. So just want to throw that out there.
The County Commissioner Joe Frank Jernigan in the audience, and I think the public hearing that we had was in his district. We appreciate your attendance, Joe Frank. Anything else from any commissioner?
We would also like to welcome Julie Young with Leadership Rutherford.
She out there? Welcome, Julie. This was a real lengthy meeting. I'm sure you learned quite a bit. Anything else? Thank you. We'll see you next week. We are adjourned.